It was an alarming headline. Commercial dog food, it said, was found to contain what it called alarming levels of lead, mercury, and other contaminants. But how worried should we be, and what should our dogs be eating anyway? Enid Stiles is an animal behaviorist. She's also a vet at the Sherwood Park Animal Hospital. Hi, Enid.
Hi there.
So what can you tell us about this investigation? How concerned should we be?
Well, I mean, the first thing I just want to say is that it wasn't a study done. So it's not a published study. It was just a report. Of course, it was done by a place that tests food for both human and animal consumption. So there's nothing wrong with the site itself, but we just don't know for sure if what they've said is valid. What they looked at were different types of food. So they looked at raw foods, so raw meat-based diets, fresh and frozen diets, so kind of home-cooked foods, as well as kibble. And then they looked to see what kind of heavy metals were present in what amounts in those foods. Unfortunately, they did see that it looked like there might be more kibble, sort of more heavy metals in kibble than in other foods, such as the fresh foods. That doesn't really surprise me that much because fresh foods are naturally you actually need to eat more of it. So when you're looking at sort of analyzing one food versus another, they're probably not looking at the actual amount that's consumed by the animal. But it is for sure something that, we should be looking at as we go further down the road of what are healthy for our pets. But I don't want people to be alarmed. We really, the amounts that they found still were not that concerning as far as what we know about heavy metals.
So what should people consider when choosing food for their dogs?
So, I mean, I think that, there's a lot of misinformation out there, especially if you're on to social media, the internet, it's out there. And, just like us, there's a lot of people wanting to feed healthy. We want to eat healthy. We want to give the same thing to our pets. Fully appreciate that. And it is a little hard to trust a kibble. I myself sometimes look at it and go, wow, like what's in here, right? But have faith definitely in your veterinarians and the veterinary nutritionists who have helped develop most of those kibble diets, and recognize that each animal is an individual. And we really need to make sure that the food you're feeding your dog or cat is tailored and individual to that animal. But beware of the misinformation as well. It's a big subject for sure.
Well, you're right about the kibble because, sometimes you get guilted by people who say, well, I cook food for my dogs. But is cooking dog food at home necessarily a better thing for the dog?
Well, I think that if you have the time, the energy, the money, and also have the assistance of a veterinary nutritionist in some capacity to formulate that dog food or cat food for you, then I'm all for home provided meals and definitely cooked food. So I'm absolutely think it's great. But the problem is that a lot of people don't either have the time, energy, money, or investigate the appropriate food for their dog or cat.
A lot of people were also turning to something called raw food, but there was some concern about bacterial contamination there. Is raw food a good option for dogs?
So it's still a pretty trendy thing to do. So it's definitely something we see very frequently coming in our doors. And we know that there's two sort of main reasons why you'll be hard to find a veterinarian out there who's going to recommend a raw meat-based diet. So the first is, as you mentioned, this sort of bacterial issue. So we know that raw meat-based diets, whether they've been frozen or any formulation that has happened in order for them to try and pretend it's not raw, it is raw. And just like us, we don't really want to be eating raw meat because of bacteria and parasites, et cetera. So definitely we know they could consume that. And when they take that, it's in their mouth. And what do dogs like to do? They like to lick us. So then it can easily be contaminated onto our bodies. And if we have children or immune suppressed, this could be very dangerous. The second part, of course, is, oh, sorry.
Yeah, and very quickly, because we're almost out of time, if we are going to cook for our dogs, are there certain recipes we should follow then?
Yeah, so ask your vet, but there's some great veterinary nutritionists online, but also some in person that can help you develop a proper balanced diet for your pet.
Okay, thank you very much for this, Enid.
You're very welcome.